for this presentation, and we are trying to answer the question, assuming talking to foreigners, how to tell foreigners that Taiwan is a sovereign state. And our group consists of 3 members, including Clyde, Tino, and yours truly. And so here we go. The first slide, please. The first issue, and possibly the most important that speaks the loudest, is that we have a distinct visa recognized by many nations. And that means we are already recognized by the world. And this visa is not just recognized by every nation that is outside of this so-called Greater China complex. It's even recognized by China itself, because when we travel there, we still have to submit this visa. So even our enemy says otherwise, it is recognized document, which is very important. That's a legal document right there saying that we are a distinct state. We have our own travel procedure. Next slide, please. The second issue is that we have a well-managed currency system. And I want to stress that it's well-managed. A lot of countries have their own central banks, and then they print their money like crazy. We are very well managed, and the testimony is that we are one of the our new Taiwanese dollar is actually one of the best performing currency throughout the entire East Asian financial storm, where we didn't suffer as much depreciation as the other countries that in the Southeast Asian nations. And that's really a strong testimony of our management and also our economic strength. Okay, next slide, please. Okay. The third issue here is that we pay taxes to our country and not to China. And I would further by stating that I think our central government is possibly much better managed fiscally than China itself, simply because China is a country with widespread corruption, and God knows how much they actually owe to the international market, and when they start to internationalize how their finances are going to be managed, or how much write-downs there are going to be. Next slide, please. We also own our military force and make that a very well-equipped one, simply because of our economic strength, and possibly also because the abundance of our high-tech talents. We are able to acquire state-of-the-art military equipment to protect ourselves. And I think it was really a shame in the 1996 that China actually used missiles to threaten us in order to influence our own presidential election. In the same time, I think at that time there was an issue occurring in the Spratly Island with the Philippines, and the Chinese actually showed less enthusiasm and less courage in threatening the Philippines, where the Filipinos were actually encroaching on their territory, and yet they show much greater aggressiveness toward us. But we actually have a better equipped military force. So, okay, next slide. This is also very important. We have our own language and literature. And right there we have pictures of several important characters, and also our national literary museum, Lai He, who worked who's basically a major left-wing literary figure, and then Zhong Bingzheng, who won 3 presidential awards for his literary work, and also Zhong Lihe, who's well known for his work on the local culture and on the rural idyllic life of Taiwanese nation itself. Next, please. What's interesting about this country is its multicultural origin. We have our own culture that combines 5 ethnicities, and most people are probably aware that the older immigrants and the newer immigrants, and also Hakkas. Then there's the Aborigines, who is actually the longest standing ethnic group in this island. And then there's a fifth emerging ethnic group that's basically is a combination of various Southeast Asian immigrants who were newlyweds into our country, and this newly emerging group somewhere along the future, I think, might compose as much as 20% of our population in the future. Next, please. Lastly, most of our population possess Aborigine genes. This is really a testimony of how vicious the education of KMT is, that is trying to brainwash us that we are all descendants of Han, which is simply not true. We have several centuries of history in this land that it's quite likely, it is a fact that we may very well be a melange of our genetic composition, and since the Aborigines is the longest standing ethnic group in this country, we may all possess part of those genes in ourselves. That's really a strong argument against KMT's Sinicization education and now mainland China's Sinicization education. So we have these 7 different issues that we potentially can explain to our foreign friends in the international setting, and someday we hope that internationally everyone will recognize us and also take us as a model for democracy, human rights, and liberty. Thank you all for your attention.
That is a perfect answer about the Taiwan. Taiwan is different from China. The answer is very good. Post in our website. Okay. It can post in our website to show everyone about the Taiwan. His speaking is very good. Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, thank Group A and the group leader is Leo. And 在时间冇最好，所以 Group B, are you ready? Please come to the platform.
是这个吗？不是，那他们在扣在哪里？
他们名字叫 B， 他们的名字叫 B。
在外面。在外面啊。
不是这个。
不是这个啊，是你们的。他扣在哪里？
这个，这个，这个点进去，然后这个。
OK。